Earlier this morning, we showed you the latest Washington Post ABC News poll in which Republicans have lost ground on the generic congressional ballot. Republicans held a 10-point advantage last fall.
And by the way, they're losing a lot of independents, which is why that number is going down, because the independents obviously turned off by the craziness in the party, even if they agree with Republicans on most issues.
But if the Republicans do retake the House, senior White House officials have begun strategizing a response to the expected aggressive investigations. The Washington Post reports the administration has begun hiring new staffers and restructuring various departments to strategize the best response if Democrats lose control of the House or the Senate. Just last week, House GOP Conference Chair Elise Stefanik tweeted this: "We will investigate the Biden crime family as a matter of national security."
It's just shameless.
She is so painful, guys.
She is so painful.
I can't take it.
And shameless. This is one of those evolutions like J.D. Mandel or whoever
painful.
Donald Trump said. You know, we met her right when she came into Congress. Gifted person. And just decided at some point that she was going.
Shameful.
She was going to, do what she does, the Biden crime family.
Let's bring Tom Rogers into this conversation in a new piece.
Pathetic.
Yeah, it is.
Unbelievable, pathetic.
In a new piece for Newsweek, he's co-written with former Senator Tim Wirth. He is taking a look at what a GOP-controlled House could mean for the ability to control the outcome of the 2024 presidential election. Quoting from the piece, "If the House goes markedly Republican in 2022, we are setting the stage for Donald Trump to be handed the presidency in 2024, whether he wins it or not. It is really that simple that the card House Republicans could play would prove that American democracy is no more than a house of cards. The 2022 battle cry needs to be a vote for House Republicans is a vote to destroy democracy."
All right, Tom joins us now. He's the editor-at-large at Newsweek and a CNBC founder and contributor. So, Tom, let me just start with what I always say to Mika all the time. You know, we live in a Madisonian democracy. We heard that democracy was going to collapse in 2020, but then you had federal judges that said, hold on 1 second. Doesn't your argument suggest that the federal judiciary would take a pass on this and let Republicans steal an election they didn't win?
Well, not necessarily, Joe. Happy birthday, Mika. And I'm sorry this column is not intended to bring you good birthday cheer. You'll remember 2 years ago in May of 2020, Senator Wirth and I laid out exactly how Donald Trump would try to steal the 2020 election. And most people didn't believe us. And unfortunately, that's exactly the game plan that he followed. And this column is about the midterms and the big lie and how this really sets up the next steal. And I hope, Joe, you are absolutely right that independents see the Republican candidates as loonies and liars because if the predictions of the big pickups by Republicans in the midterms pan out this November, we are really setting up the likely election of the next president, and that president is likely to be Donald Trump. And here's how. As we all know, Mike Pence thwarted the plan to have the joint session of Congress overturn the Electoral College results. But the Dems were in control of the House then. Under a Republican House where the liar-in-chief Kevin McCarthy is Speaker, the con path is actually laid out by con law. As you know, Joe, that's how lawyers refer to constitutional law. And it's the combination of the 12th Amendment and the Electoral Count Act which really put this in play. Because the way that works is when that joint session happens, if one senator, one congressman object to any given state slate of electors, the two houses retreat to their respective bodies and make a decision on those objections. Well, if the House is controlled by a big lie majority, the House can deadlock with the Senate. And this time they're going to have plenty of support from state legislatures. And to your point about the courts, there's plenty of speculation the Supreme Court is going to support an independent state legislature doctrine, giving all that a lot more teeth. So if the House and the Senate deadlock...
But let me, hold on, let me stop you. I just got to stop you right there, because you've talked about the Electoral Count Act of 1887, and it seems to me, if this is your fear, then you need to look in your camera and you need to talk to Chuck Schumer and Democrats in the Senate and say, there have been Republicans who have said they will reform the Electoral Count Act of 1887 and allow and take this out of the hands of the House of Representatives, where they believe it should be taken out of, and put it into the hands of the court. Shouldn't Democrats in the Senate stop doing what they've been doing for the past year and a half and stop swinging for the fences in the Grand Slam and just take that single? If they can get 10 Republicans who will agree to reform the Electoral Count Act to stop what you're doing, then why don't they do that?
Well, reform of the Electoral Count Act would help. I'm not sure that what they, even if they do get together and pass something, I'm not sure that it will take away from Congress the ultimate ability to certify the Electoral College count. Now, there are things they could do. I'm somewhat skeptical that they will do it, and you're absolutely right. It's a necessity. But if they do deadlock, what happens under the Constitution is that this is thrown into the House. And as you know, in the House, the Republicans win that state-by-state delegation vote. And in fact, gerrymandering recently has only hardened the likelihood that that state-by-state count in the House remains Republican through 2024 and beyond. What really concerns me is history here, because in 2010, when the Republicans had a big pickup, as you remember, 63 House seats went Republican. And even though Obama in 2012 regained his traction and won re-election, the Democrats only picked up 8 of those seats that they lost in that big sweep in 2010, leaving the House in a substantial Republican majority still. If that replays, that's why I'm so concerned that a sweep in 2022 will stay put for 2024. And if the Electoral Count Act is not only not changed, but not changed significantly, you set up a big line majority being able to thwart the ability of Congress to take an electoral college legitimate count and allow a legitimate election to take place.
Well, I'll tell you what. First of all, I think you're right. History would suggest that the Republicans are going to win. I don't know how big they're going to win, but the Republicans have history on their side to certainly win in the House. We'll see what happens there. I'm not being Pollyannish here, a lot to be concerned about, but Democrats could certainly help by working with whatever Republicans they can find to really change the Electoral Count Act of 1887 to make sure, again, that you actually have courts that take care of this instead of politicians in the House. The new piece is online now for Newsweek. Tom Rogers, as always, thanks so much for being with us.
Great having you on this morning.